Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to episode 4. I am so glad to be back on here. I've been getting tons of comments from you people letting me know how well this series has helped you tackle Sketchup when it was so confusing before, no matter what tutorials that you found on YouTube. I want to thank you guys for dropping me those lines, letting me know that this has helped you. And if you are finding this episode any better for you, be sure and drop comments down below and let me know how I'm doing. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to not only my YouTube channel, but also Instagram if you follow me there. And I do post a lot of things there that are kind of behind the scenes of the channel. So thank you guys very much. So let's get started on some questions that were sent to me on how to tackle a few things that I haven't covered yet in the series. So I'm going to try and make this video as quick as I can. Now, before I showed you guys how to change your tool setup right here in the top hand portion of the screen by right-clicking on the toolbar and customizing it. Now it will bring up a huge window that you can click and drag a whole bunch of things in and out of your toolbar. But if you wanted to save yourself some time, you can go up to View and Tool Palettes and then turn on Large Tool Set. And that will bring up this window right here. And it will have a whole bunch of the tools that you don't normally see in this top thing, but you might see some duplicates. Anything that's in here that you use the most, like I said, just put it up here in the top and it will be easy. You don't have to take up space on the side of your screen. But a lot of people do like to have this tool palette over here because they don't have to go searching for a tool when they need it. So that is one way to get a lot of tools in the screen and ready to use when and if you need them. So I had another question sent to me about rotation problems and keeping the project in the middle of the screen. Now, I'm going to show you guys, let's just say I'm just going to take it completely out of view, and you have trouble trying to figure out where it's at. Sometimes you get disoriented. I'm just going to throw it around, and you don't see any reference lines. No red, green, blue, nothing. And you want to get back to your project really, really fast. There's a couple of ways to do that. There is an icon that you'll find here that I added to my toolbar, or in the large palette, it's down here, and if you hover over it, it's called Zoom Extents. And if you click on it, it will take you back to the portion of your screen where all of the projects that you have on that screen are centered. Now, I've added a couple of things to mine, so it's going to show it off a little bit. So there it is. It has centered back everything that is in my project. I can kind of reorientate myself of where it's at. And I've got something else that's added over here. I'll have to show you a little bit later. But that's how to get your project back in the viewfinder window very, very quickly. Double-clicking on push-pull. Mike Fulton from MF Woodshop showed me this. Actually, he brought it to my attention. I've used it before, but for some reason I forgot to talk to you guys about it. So I'm going to go back to the area where I was creating all of these offset rabbits, and I'm going to get them back to the way they were the first time. So if you remember from the prior lesson, I had to individually push-pull these up. There's another option that you can do called double-clicking on a push-pull. But you have to establish a height first with your first push-pull. So I'm going to drag this up and type in 0.25 and enter. Now I have established a 1/4 of an inch height for the top, which is what it's mated for. And I'm just going to double-click on all the other ones that I need to push-pull up. And because I established the 1/4 of an inch, it automatically does it for me. So that's a huge time saver on push-pulling. So you establish one, and then double-click on all the others that you want in the same plane. So thanks a lot, Mike, for bringing that to my attention. And I hope that speeds up some people's push-pulling. So the next question that I had was making a chamfer. Now, this is going to be shown in a couple ways. I'm going to do the top, and I'm going to go into the component so I can edit it, and I'm going to use some reference line using the tape measure and establish a 1/4 of an inch away from that edge and a 1/4 of an inch down from the top. Now, if you want to use the tape measure, you can check out some of the prior episodes and it will show you how to do that. I went into it pretty thoroughly. I'm going to turn my line function on and go to the intersection where the top portion of the top meets that reference line, and then I'm going to draw a line to the other reference line intersection for the edge. Now you see I've separated the two. You can do a push-pull and drag it across all the way to the end, and you've just created a chamfer on the front edge of the board. Now, if you wanted to create a chamfer on all the edges, I can show you the hard way real quick, and then I'm going to show you the easy way. So I'm going to come over here to the other edge, the opposite corner, because if I try and do it over here, since I've already made the chamfer, it's going to be real difficult for me to draw that 45-degree line that I did over here in this corner. I want it to meet this particular corner over here, so I'm going to come over here to the back. Like I said, this is the hard way. And I'm going to make my reference lines one more time, so this will give you some practice. Turn my line function on and draw my reference line, and then push-pull to that. Now, after I've dropped it, there is a residual amount that it bottomed out because I've made this 45-degree turn, and I can't drag it all the way across. It has no more right angle dragging to move. So the easiest way to make this corner meet up with that corner is just move it. You turn your move function on, and then just find that point, and it will snap into place. Click it, and then drag it over to that point, and then drop. Now we've still got this divider line from the push-pull, so we just want to get rid of it. So turn on your eraser by clicking E, or up here in your toolbar, and then just click and drag over that line, and let it go. So now you have created a chamfer that meets at a corner. And you can continue doing that until all your chamfers are done. But, like I said, that's the hard way. You want to do it an easy way? I'm going to undo everything I just did except for the reference line that I made on that first corner. So I'm going to get back to it real quick. So now I've made this reference line, and I want to use what's called the Follow Me tool. You'll find that in your toolbar right up here at the top. It's a little semicircle with a red arrow inside of it. And you're going to follow all of these reference lines that make the top. Okay? So there's 4 lines. There's this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay? You want it to follow that. So turn the Follow Me function tool on and just follow the line. You see it turn red right there? It'll turn red on every line that you touch. See? You don't have to follow it. You just need to kind of reference to it. And then come back to the other corner where you started and let go. Now you've created a chamfer all the way around the board. But there's even a quicker way. I'm going to undo that. You can just click the top surface area of this component, highlight it blue like that, turn your Follow Me function on. Now the blue's going to go away, but it's fine. All you've told it to do is follow all 4 edges of that surface. So all you got to do now is click, and it does it for you. Super fast, super simple to make a profile no matter what it is. All you need to do is establish the lines that the Follow Me tool has to follow to make that profile. So it can be a roundover, it can be a bead and cove, it can be chamfer, anything. That is the super quick way to get it done. And if you guys want a more in-depth lesson on how to make profiles and crown moldings and things like that, drop me down a comment down below and let me know that. So what I want to do is make some circles all the way across this apron. So I'm going to go into my component and find a reference line. There we go. And let's do it. What is this? This is 4. So I'm going to go 3 more. So let's do 7. And let's find center. I'm going to click there and raise it up. And you can snap it to center right there. Now I'm going to turn on my circle function, clicking C on my keyboard or circle up here, and I'm going to draw a 0.5 radius circle so it will make me a 1-inch diameter circle. Okay? Now I've got a circle made, okay? But I need a bunch of circles made. I want circles all the way across this apron, okay? Before I would highlight it like that, just by clicking on the line, and then turning on my move tool, go into the center here where the reference marks are at, and then I would hit Option and copy it, and I would type in, I want it 2 inches away, so I type in 2 and enter, and then I would do that over and over and over and over, okay? Instead of recopying it all the time, you can drop it at, say, 2 inches away, and then I need a whole bunch more. So I'm going to say that I need 15 more of those. I can always erase what I don't need. So just type in times 15 or x 15 and hit enter. And it throws 15 more circles on this apron. And as you can see, I did not even exceed where I needed to go. So using the push-pull tip that I gave you a minute ago, we're going to push those all out of the way now by establishing a 0.75 depth, and then just double click on all the others. Like that. Isn't that cool? That is a huge time saver when it comes to copying. So that will not work until you establish your first copy. So if you establish a 2-inch away and you hit enter and you drop it in that spot and then type in X15, it will establish a 2-inch center away from all the others as you make them. So that's pretty cool. Mike, thank you very, very much for showing me that. Huge time saver. Making dovetails. Okay, so this one's going to be a little advanced for some of you, but I'll try and walk you through it as best I can. So I've got over here a couple of boards already made. These are 3/4 of an inch thick, and the overall width, I believe, is 9 inches. So I can show you that real quick. So it's 9 inches wide. The depth does not matter, or the height does not matter, but the thickness I have set for 3/4 of an inch. So this would just be like a typical board that you are going to make like pass-through dovetails on. So I'm going to bring these two together by going up here to the top corner and turning my move function on. And I'm going to bring it down to this corner so they overlap. Just like you would if you were making dovetails on your jig, okay? So these are gonna be pass-through dovetails. And I'm going to set up some reference lines on this board first. So I'm going to click into that component because I've already made these components, by the way. If you have not made these, go ahead and do so. Just make your rectangles, make them 3/4 of an inch thick, 9 inches wide. It does not matter how tall they are. And save it as a component and then copy that component. Make the second component unique. And I showed you that on prior lessons. I'll show you that real quick in case you need to know. I'll undo this real fast. So I'm going to copy this component by turning my move function on, clicking option and dragging it out like that. Now I've got this component and this component, but any changes that I make to this one will affect this one. I don't want that to happen because these two boards need to be different. Even though they're going to match up, they're going to be different. So you would just right click on that and make it unique. Now any changes I make to this one won't affect this one because I've already done this one that way. That's what's going to happen. This one is unique from this one, but it was a copy of this one. Okay? So, let me bring those back together. So now they are overlapped. I'm going to go back into this component because this is the one I want to change first. But I need to do some layout reference lines with my tape measure and my compass. Or protractor, I mean. So we're going to establish 1 inch away by clicking on our tape measure, starting on this line, and go 1 inch and enter. Now, do another inch and enter. Now, the function that we just learned about copying, I'm going to click on that tape measure line, turning my move function on, and we're going to copy that tape measure line and click 1 inch and then drop it. Hit X. Let's just do 5. I think it'll go across that way. Nope, didn't quite make it. Needed one more. Should have done 6. One inch. There we go. So you can copy tape measure lines even too. Anything that can be copied that X and however many you need works. So that's going to be huge for people. It's huge for me. And you'll see how it works out with your dovetails here pretty quick. So I'm going to turn on my protractor by doing Shift P, or you can do it up here in your toolbar if you don't have your keystroke set up. Look for protractor. And we're going to start on this line right here. And we're going to establish 0 by clicking and going to the intersection and moving over and type in 7 degree or just 7. Okay? Do the same thing over here. Establish a 0 and go in this way and type 7. So now you've established the tail as well as the outline of the pin. So we're going to copy this now. So I've highlighted both of those by holding down Shift and clicking on each one that I wanted blue. All right. Turn on your move function. And we're going to just go up here to this intersection because I need something to reference to. And we're going to copy by hitting Option or Command if you are, or excuse me, not Command, but Control if you are on a Windows computer. And we're going to, now I can't put it here because I need room for a pin. So we're going to go over here to the next one. And that, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, is 2 inches. So if I zoom out just a little bit, you can see I need 3 total, including this one, okay? I haven't dropped it yet. So I'm going to drop it on that spot by clicking and then typing in X3 and enter. And it fills in the rest where they need to be. Now, I know this looks a bit confusing. We are going to just concentrate on one. So I'm going to zoom in on my original that we were working on. So get all of that mess out of your way. Now, we didn't necessarily have to copy all of those reference lines. We can just simply work off this one and then copy the outlines that we make. But I wanted to kind of do this so you can see that copy function over and over again and kind of get familiar with it. So I didn't have to do all of these, okay? I could have just done this one. So that's why I'm zooming in and just keeping that in view so it doesn't confuse you. So zoom in on your screen, get to this point right here so you know what we're going to be doing, and that way you won't be confused. So we're going to turn our line function on. Now, I've got that assigned to L on my keyboard, or you can use your pencil right up here in your toolbar. So turn on L, and we're going to go down to this intersection here and click, and we're going to follow the dotted lines. Now, you don't have to make a line here because there already is one, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then connect these dots. All right. So we've established the outline for a pin or a tail. Right now it looks like a tail. And I want to copy these. So I'm going to highlight every line that I've got right here. Now to do that, you hold down your Shift key. You click on one without holding your Shift, just to establish a line that you want. Now, click on your Shift key and hold it down. You can see there's a plus and minus sign that pops up next to your cursor. That's letting you know that you have the Shift held, and anything that you click will either add or subtract away from your selection. So you can click on that, and click on that, and then let go of your Shift. Okay? Now all these lines that we just made are now blue. We can copy all 3 of these lines and move them to the areas that we need by using that same function. I'm going to count how many I need. I need this one, and this one. So that's 3 total that I need to copy. So I'm going to turn my move function on, click Option or Control if you're on Windows, and copy it over and drop it on the intersection you need. Drop it and then type in X3 and enter. Now I'm going to get rid of all of these dotted lines now so it can better visualize for you. So I'm going to hit Shift D to get rid of those, or you can go up there to Edit and delete guides. So that's all they are. They're just guidelines. And you can get rid of them once you don't need them anymore. So that way it'll clean up your screen. I'm going to push-pull this area out of the way just by turning on the push-pull function and then referencing it to the line where the other board intersects. And what that did was give me the pins on this board, and as you can see, the tails have been highlighted on this board. So now we're going to establish this board, and it's really easy. You just go into the component to edit it, turn on your line function by clicking the pencil or L on your keyboard, and then just follow your dotted lines again. And you only have to do one. So highlight your lines again, just like we did before, holding down your shift key, turn on your move function, hit option, drag it over, drop it, and hit X3. And it has copied all of those lines again. And now pull those out of the way. Okay. And now we have created a through dovetail joinery system. And I will pull this board out of the way so you can see it. There you go. These are your tails, these are your pins, and as you drag them together, they will create the joinery that you are trying to achieve. Now, if that was a little too fast, I do apologize. I'm hoping that I am doing this in such a way that you can follow along pretty easily. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. So if you want me to break this down in a video by itself, drop me a comment and let me know. But that is how you create dovetails. Using that copy function that Mike Madonna gave me really sped that process up. So if you have a long board with tons of dovetails, copying all of that just by working off one first and then copying it, pushing, pulling is the part that takes the longest after that. So like I said, if there's anybody that knows how to do push-pull by highlighting a whole bunch of the areas and then dragging one and it does them all, tell me, because I haven't figured that part out yet. So that is how to create dovetails. And another one that somebody asked was how to print from Sketchup. So if you didn't want to take your computer out to your shop and you wanted to print your cut list and pictures of your project, so you can just take the printable plans out there, this is how you can do that. So whenever you get to the point where you want to print, let's just say I want this picture on a piece of paper, you go to the File function at the top of your screen and then Export as a 2D graphic. Okay, it will bring up your save window. I've already established a folder that I want this to go in, and you can name it whatever you like. I'm just going to name it number 1 because the folder's name is Sketchup Tutorial. And then hit Export. And then it's done. Okay, so let's go find that file real fast. I've got it under this and here and here. Now, what I like to do is create it as a PNG, which it automatically saves it as a PNG for you. But I want to remove some of the background, and I'll do that. Now, if you have a Mac, it's pretty easy to do for me. I'm going to crop it first. And I want to get rid of this background, so I'm just going to click this little wand guy up here, and then click and drag. And then my background's gone. And Macs automatically save your progress, but if you're on Windows, you want to save it. But removing your background like that really helps. You can remove this background that you see back here, back there. It's basically just like the masking area. You're just taking it out of the equation. So, and then when you're done with that, you just print that on a sheet of paper. Really simple. So you're not actually printing from SketchUp. You're actually saving a PNG exported file, 2D graphic, into a folder, and then you print from there. And whatever you put on the screen, that's what gets exported. So if you needed to know the dimensions, you can turn on your dimension tool and click and drag, and then drag that out, and then export it, and you'll see this dimension in place, so you know what those are going to be. So you can get really detailed with your prints. So if you have this piece that you're wanting to print, and you can turn your dimension tool on, find your dimensions, and then zoom into that area so you can see it better, and then export it. Take out your background, or if you don't want to take out the background, that's fine. But just export it as a 2D graphic and then print it from your folder, and then you'll be able to see your measurements right there. It's really, really easy to print. Okay, next one I had was putting 2 separate files side by side into a SketchUp layout all on its own. And I'm pretty sure that's what they were talking about whenever they asked me to do this. So I'm going to get out of this tutorial because I have 2 tutorials or 2 files that I had pulled up already, and they had to do with my shop. So I've got my assembly table plans that I had made a long time ago. I went ahead and copied this one and then shut all the doors, drawers, and then I turned it to a group. So whenever I click on it, it will basically just select the table all together. I don't have to highlight everything. And to do that, I mean, you can just highlight the table. Let me do this. Highlight the table, right click, and where did it go? Make group right there. And that will take all of the components that are in that grouping and make it one big group. And I've showed you that before in prior tutorials, so just go back and check that out. So if I want this file to be in another file, let's just say you're doing your garage and you've made plans like this and you want this table to be in that layout. Well, that's pretty easy to do. So I've got my garage layout already done, and I've been working on it, but as you can see, my assembly table is missing. My back wall cabinetry is missing. So I'm going to get rid of a couple of things just so I can see, and get rid of Steve here too. And I'm going to orient where my table is going to be. So let's go back to my assembly table and make sure that it's highlighted like that as a group, and I am going to copy it as it's under edit and copy. Then go back to my garage layout and then hit paste. So edit and paste. So now my assembly table is in this file. So I can drop it anywhere I want and fix the rotation. Now this is a big file too, so this is making my computer is a lot slower. But rotate it 90 degrees. And then just move it in place. You can see it's a little herky-jerky, so I apologize. So that is how to bring your plans that you have made or projects that you have made in SketchUp and drop them into another file. And then you would just save this one and you can come back to it later. So I would do the same thing for my back wall cabinetry because I've recently changed those out. So here's my back wall cabinetry file I need to bring in, including my logo. And to get my logo in here, I actually have that saved as a PNG file on my computer, and you would just go to File and Import, and then find where your file is. And like, I think it's right there. Yeah, Import. And it will bring it in like this. And you, before you click on where you want it to be, you need to find the plane that you want it to be on. And just click on that plane. And then it will ask you to resize it after you've clicked. And then you can just bring the size into perspective and then move it wherever you want. So that's pretty easy to do. Okay. So that's how to bring in an image that you've already made, a PNG file image too. So there's another bonus lesson. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to highlight my cabinets and do File, or excuse me, Edit and Copy, and then go back to my garage layout and then paste. So the orientation's backwards, so I'll need to fix that. So I dropped it into place and I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Type in 180 and drop it. And I want to reference this corner. Hang on. That corner right there. Into the corner of my pallet wall, because the pallet wall is going to go around it. Right there. Now I've shown you these tricks on prior lessons, so how to reference areas and snap them to certain corners, so check those out. So that's how to do your shop layout once you've created your plans like this. So you don't have to make little mock-up boxes like you see here. Once I have my clamp wall cabinet made, I can bring it in and it will be exact. I mean, to scale of my garage. And I've already measured out the walls of my garage and then just made the walls kind of transparent so I can see the layout even through the walls. So that's pretty cool to do, and gets pretty fun to lay out your shop. And you'll figure out how much room that you need between each piece of or apparatus that you have in there. So I think that is all of the things that I needed to do for questions that I had. I know that people wanted me to show them how to make plans, so I'll do that in another video. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all. I hope you guys had some enjoyment from this one and got a lot of knowledge from some of the bonuses that I brought into the lesson plan. And if you have any comments, tips, or suggestions, be sure and drop them down below in the comment box. And be sure and follow me on Instagram, YouTube, wherever you got. Subscribe to everything, and I will catch you guys later. So thanks a lot, guys. Boom!